Right, we enter a new decade. New hardware, which means better quality of licensed games, right? Right? Night Industry 2000s. The year is 2000. What a fitting time for more Knight Rider games. After we talk about a couple Knight Rider games in the past, what's in store this time around? Will we see the full potential of Kid? Well, buckle up as we're about to accelerate into the next checkpoint. First up is Knight Rider the game, released on PlayStation 2 on November 22nd, 2002. Oh, and also February 12th, 2003 for PC. We are looking at the PlayStation 2 version. It was made by davilex. Here's a little history. davilex is a video game company originated in 1986, based in Netherlands, with their debut game making their appearance several years later. You are most likely familiar with the Racer series. You know, E2 Racer, E2 Racer 2, E2 Racer 3, London Racer, Europe Racer, US Racer, etc. They continued to work on different games until 2005 when they were shut down. So that is a short history of davilex. No need to thank me. Anyway, where was I? Knight Rider is one of the games they made. And honestly, Kid, for the most part, controls pretty well, just like the TV show. He can turn, accelerate, sideways, and boost as usual. And the game also taught you everything you need to know through the tutorial, but trying to control Kid itself can be quite a challenge, especially when you're on high speed. Attempting to gain control by turning quickly will result in Kid spinning out of control, and it was at that moment it felt sluggish and heavy. Trying to turn Kid at a sharp corner full speed will not end well, as you will lose the stability of the car itself. You will be watching yourself struggling to keep the car straight as you throw the car everywhere, especially when you touch the bump. You will even notice its flaw if you ever toggle Super Pursuit mode. Like I said, Kid for the most part controls well enough because you will be using them throughout the game, including Turbo Boost. The controls will not make you rage quit, but I just want to point out my problem. I hope you understand what I mean. There are a total of 15 missions, and most will be involving you performing some platforming. Lots of platforming. You will be tasked with jumping over specific obstacles or hopping over some roof to meet your objective. The turbo boost itself works fine, although using it will create a small momentum to make your car move forward, so you could potentially mess up some jumping. Honestly, the platforming puzzle is easy to figure out once you memorize the surrounding. But I don't know about you, it could be the surrounding, it could be the environment, or it could be the difficulty. But I find this game to be very boring. Apart from the two missions where you are involved in taking out the enemy, the rest just forces you to do platforming after platforming with nothing else going on. It feels very repetitive, doing the same process. Take for instance, you receive briefing from Bonnie and Devon, you then drive over to the location, you investigate, scan those items, and finally performing the aforementioned jumping. That's it. How I wish there's more to it. Since we are talking about a game based on a show that is action oriented, I just realized Kid don't have any weapons. Apparently, the Foundation seems to forget that Kid supposed to have any weapons in his disposal, and you end up with nothing to combat against the enemy. Not that you need them because you can trade pain in order to defeat them. Man, they are willing to let Kid hit the Goliath and Kwoll with his own body rather than using any weapons for safety measure. Okay then Darren, did Flag run out of budgets to give weapon to Kid? You almost put Kid and Michael in danger. Next up is the location, which gives me some Wild West vibe, and I gotta give credit to the developer for nailing the atmosphere to make it feel like you're the only one that can stop whatever danger it is. But I still wish there's more to it. With how the mission being structured, one could imagine if they were meant to make the map much larger in order to add free roam element to the game, because honestly, this looks pretty small, with nothing to explore. Not to mention, the roads are not straight enough in order to let you use Super Pursuit mode to their fullest. You could try, but the moment you begin to gain some speed, you will probably end up crashing everywhere, which is annoying. Apart from the main mission, you won't be able to explore the location outside of that, and it is a missed opportunity to let players drive around the map to see where they are in the game, which also kills any chances for you to experience Kid on your leisure, and also decreasing the replayability. Because once you beat the game, there's really no reason to return to this game. You don't unlock anything else, and the mission itself are pretty boring. No extra content and no credits, which means I won't even know who are the voice actors for the characters, as they did a pretty good job.
It was loaded onto a modified getaway vehicle, which the police cannot keep up with. The vehicle is heading this way, and I would like you and Kit to stop it.
Finally, some action. We're on our way.
Michael, someone is remotely downloading the data stored on this device, replacing it with static in the process.
So that's why no clues were ever found. Can you trace where the signal's coming from?
Yes, I've located it. Displaying.
Let's get over there before all the data is lost.
You must be surprised to hear from me.
No kidding, Carr. You were smeared across 3 states last time we saw you.
Michael, rebuilding Car must have taken considerable resources. Who do we...
That isn't the question, Kit. What should concern you is that I have a friend of yours here with me.
Michael!
What? Bonnie, are you okay?
I'm fine. Just annoyed I was taken in. I thought he was Kit, so I...
Overall, this game is not that bad as what people would say. The gameplay is pretty okay with nothing to be excited about. Once you experience it, you don't want to try it again. There's always room for improvement though, and that's what they did with Knight Rider 2. The game, released 2 years later on November 5th, 2004 for PlayStation 2 and PC. As usual, we are looking at the PlayStation 2 version. In this game, davilex took some note about the negatives from the first game and changed everything in the sequel here. The game takes place 2 years after the event of the first game, and Garth and Carl returns for revenge, and there's bound to be different in some aspect. Kid controls feel more of an improvement. The awkward physics from the first game are pretty much fixed to let the players have a better experience here, because it will be an important factor for majority of the game. Other features such as Turbo Boost, Super Pursuit Mode, Micro Jam also make a return, and I don't really have anything to explain that much anymore. And guess what? They finally gave Kid some weapons. Thank you, Foundation. Kid can cycle through 3 weapons, but using them too much will drain your health. But on the upside, they are generators scattered across each mission that refuels your health upon scanning them, which will come very handy as you will be battling the enemy. Lots of them. Most of the mission You will have to rely on your trustworthy weapons, especially in some location that forces you to fight tons of robots, and they are not messing around. No matter where you are on the map, they will still able to find you, and you're gonna have to take them out quickly, because you know, your shield won't last that long, and it's also important to do it if you want to progress through this mission. Oh, you wanna scan this thing to unlock the door? Tough luck, because you gotta destroy the robots first, sucker! You can try to outrun them and keep your distance, but chances are, you will never succeed. The combat itself is pretty decent, thanks to the controls of Kit, where you can rotate your car and try to get a better aim at the enemies. But I wish it could be better. I kinda wish there are different enemies that will react differently to your weapon of choices. Like if I use pulse, this enemy will be weak. If I use laser, this other enemy will be weak. If you know what I mean. There's nothing wrong here as I had some fun with them. Platforming returns again, but nowhere as oversaturated. The controls still remain as identical as the first game, so you shouldn't have any trouble jumping around. But back to the main gameplay. Being the norm of this game, there is no shortage of action from start to finish. Right from the get-go, the game is here to tell you it ain't messing around. Almost all of the missions involve action-oriented elements. You will be running away from missiles, fighting some bosses, or even infiltrating enemy bases. Your heart will be racing as every second feels pretty tense as you could pass or fail that particular mission. Oh, come on! I was right there! That was not fair. All the stuff you learn from the two games will be put into tests, because if you want to make it to the end, you're gonna have to know what you are doing. There are a total of 11 missions this time around, and every one of them offers something different in order to keep players interested. My favorite has gotta be Mission 9, where Michael got kidnapped and you have to play as Kid to save him, which is a refreshing idea. And I kinda wish that you can control Michael Knight on foot to perform some 3D platforming. I might be asking too much, but from the improvement they made so far, one could wonder what else they could do. Unfortunately, there's nothing else to be unlocked upon completing the game. Sure, there are some TV clips, artwork, and also quiz, but not long enough to keep you stick around. And also, no credits, which means I wouldn't able to find out who worked on this game.
You mean you enjoyed yourself, Michael, because you were the only guest there who did not have to clean the ice off his car windows by himself?
That was a nice touch. I hope the cold didn't spoil your vacation.
Of course not, Michael. It was a good way to test some of my instruments under those temperature extremes.
What are those things? Robots?
System error does not compute.
Newton, off the fire! Car! Manual override! Manual override!
Devon on the phone for you, Michael.
Congratulations, Michael. And you too, Kit.
Thank you, Mr. Miles.
Some days, everything goes as planned.
Overall, Knight Rider 2 is a vast improvement compared to the first game, while keeping the positive element together from the first game to make the game stand on its own. You can see davilex did what they could to make the good use of the Knight Rider IP, even if they weren't a AAA company. But hey, you don't have to be a big company to make good games. The two games are a good example, and I recommend you to check them out if you found a cheap copy. Oh wait, there's something important I need to tell you. I forgot to mention the PS2 version are only released in Europe. You know, PAL copy, while the PC version are the only version to be released in North America, which means you're gonna have to import them somewhere. Such a weird decision to only lock the console version in one region. But either way, don't let those problems stop you from touching these games. Alright, we are done with 2 console games, but wait, there's one more game that I want to talk. Somewhere in 2010, they made a Knight Rider game for the iOS, and unfortunately, I don't own an iOS device, so I'm gonna touch it briefly. Knight Rider is an exclusive title for the iOS developed by Hudson Soft. Yeah, remember Hudson? I won't forgive you for what you've done. Anyway, the entirety of the game takes place in a top-down perspective, and like other mobile games, you just have 2 buttons to worry about, and the gameplay itself is pretty simplistic and also self-explanatory. You go around the map, complete main objective, and just drive around. From what I've seen online, it looks pretty bland for a mobile game, and doesn't really interest me that much, so that's all I'm gonna talk about. This is also the last official Knight Rider game to be released to this very day. Not a very good way to go out, I guess. So that's it. We had already took a look on each official Knight Rider games ever released. From the beginning to the present, each games tried to do what the show presented, and the end result is pretty interesting to say the least. I don't think there are any bad Knight Rider games. Some are mediocre, but not to the point of unplayable. It's fascinating to see what each game is trying to do in order to pay tribute, even if it's not perfect. If I were to rank these games, the bottom 6 would be the Commodore 64 version, iOS version, and Knight Rider. As for the top 3, it would be the NES, PC Engine, and the Knight Rider the game too. All of which are in my own opinion. This is just my way to celebrate the 40th anniversary of Knight Rider. I know someone else will do a better job, but I just want to do it my way. Happy 40th anniversary, Knight Rider. Michael Knight, a lone crusader in a dangerous world. The world of the Knight Rider. If you enjoy what you see, be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and comment below your opinion on this game. Have you played? Let's have a peaceful discussion. Thank you for watching, and while you excuse me, I am gonna take a break from my throat.